Let me tell you something. Life ain't easy. Nobody promised you smooth roads, sunshine every day, or blessings without battles. But here's what I've learned through all the pain, the failure, and the rejection. Your struggle has a purpose. Every single tear, every disappointment, every time somebody told you no when you were praying for a yes, it was all part of the setup for your breakthrough. You've been thinking God forgot about you? Nah. He's just preparing you for something so big that if he gave it to you right now, you wouldn't even know how to handle it. You've been in that storm not because you're being punished, but because you're being prepared. Pain is preparation, not punishment. When life throws you into a storm, it's easy to think the world is against you, that you're being punished for something you did wrong. You start to question yourself, asking why this keeps happening, why things never seem to go your way. But pain doesn't show up to destroy you, it shows up to develop you. Every time you're pushed to your limits, life is testing what you're made of. You can't become strong without resistance, and you can't grow if everything comes easy. The truth is, the people who shine the brightest are the ones who've walked through the darkest seasons. You can't skip the pain and still expect the purpose to show up. Every scar, every tear, every sleepless night is shaping the version of you that's capable of handling what you've been asking for. See, when you pray for strength, life gives you challenges. When you pray for wisdom, life gives you lessons. And when you pray for success, life gives you hard work and long nights. Pain is the classroom where greatness is taught. You can't learn patience, humility, or resilience without going through situations that test them. When you see people living their dreams, walking in success, and glowing with confidence, don't ever think they had it easy. Behind every smile, there was a struggle. Behind every victory, there was a valley. The reason some people can stand tall is because they've been broken before. Pain prepares you by stripping away what's fake, what's temporary, and what doesn't serve your future. It teaches you who you are when everything else is gone. You find out what really matters, who really cares, and what's truly worth fighting for. The funny thing about pain is that it never leaves you the same. You either let it define you or you let it refine you. And that choice is yours every single time. There's power in embracing the struggle and saying, this isn't happening to me, it's happening for me. When you change that mindset, everything shifts. You stop feeling sorry for yourself and start realizing that the universe is molding you for something bigger. Think about gold. It doesn't shine until it's put through the fire. Diamonds don't form without pressure. Seeds don't grow unless they're buried. That's exactly what pain does. It buries you for a season so that you can grow in the next. Some of the most beautiful transformations happen in the middle of what feels like your worst season. You may not see it now, but this pain is unlocking something inside you. It's creating a version of you that's ready for the blessings ahead. Without the pain, you wouldn't appreciate the progress. Without the hardship, you wouldn't respect the reward. Pain is life's greatest teacher. It humbles you, strengthens you, and pushes you to become who you were always meant to be. Struggle separates dreamers from doers. Everybody has dreams. Everybody has a picture in their mind of the life they want, the success they crave, the peace they pray for. But dreaming doesn't cost you anything. The struggle does. That's where most people stop. They get inspired for a moment, they talk big, they write down goals, but the minute life hits back, they quit. The difference between a dreamer and a doer is not talent, it's endurance. It's how you respond when the path gets hard, when nothing goes as planned, when no one claps for you. See, talk is cheap. Anybody can say they want success. Anybody can say they're built for greatness. But when it's time to wake up early, sacrifice sleep, face rejection, and keep going even when you're exhausted, that's where the truth shows up. The struggle doesn't care about your words, it cares about your work. It reveals who's really serious and who's just pretending. Every dream comes with a price tag, and that price is paid through struggle. The grind, the rejection, the tears, those are the payments you make for your vision. People see the glory, but never the story. They admire the results, but can't handle the process. But the process is what makes you. When you're struggling, when nothing seems to be working, you're actually in training. You're building muscles that will carry you when your dream gets heavy. You can't skip that part because struggle builds character and character sustains success. You can't expect to handle blessings if you never learned how to carry burdens. That's why some people get what they prayed for and lose it. They never built the strength that struggle gives. There's something powerful about someone who refuses to quit. The doers, the ones who make it, they feel the same fear and doubt as everyone else, but they push anyway. They fail, they fall, but they get back up every single time. Struggle separates them because while dreamers complain, doers adjust. While dreamers wait for motivation, doers move through discipline. While dreamers want it to be easy, doers know that it's supposed to be hard, because if it were easy, everyone would do it. But not everyone is built for the climb. Not everyone has the patience to plant seeds and wait for the harvest. The struggle doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're fighting for something worth having. It's shaping you, toughening you, preparing you for the stage you asked for. If you skip the struggle, you skip the strength. Every hardship is sharpening you. Every no is teaching you how to move smarter. Every delay is building your patience. Dreamers imagine the finish line. Doers run the race. And when the race gets tough, that's when you find out who you really are. The struggle is not your enemy. It's your entrance fee into greatness. Faith requires movement, not comfort. You can't say you believe in something and stay still at the same time. Faith is not about sitting around waiting for the perfect conditions. It's about stepping out even when you don't see the path clearly. Too many people want a guarantee before they move. They want the signs, the confirmations, the safety nets. But that's not faith, that's comfort. Faith says, I don't see it, but I know it's coming. Faith says, I don't have it yet, but I'm still walking toward it. It's easy to believe when things are going your way, when doors open fast and blessings fall in your lap. But real faith is tested in the silence, in the waiting, in the moments when nothing makes sense. It's when you're praying and nothing's changing, when you're working and nothing's moving, and still you choose to keep believing. Faith is not meant to be comfortable because comfort doesn't create growth. Every person who's ever achieved something great had to move before they were ready. They had to take a step into the unknown. They had to trust something they couldn't see. Faith stretches you. It makes you walk on water when logic says you'll drown. It pushes you out of what's familiar and into what's possible. But most people never experience the fullness of what's waiting for them because they never take that first step. They want God to show them the whole staircase, but faith only gives you one step at a time. You have to be brave enough to take that step even when your legs are shaking. You can't pray for a breakthrough and then refuse to move toward it. When you act in faith, the universe starts aligning things you couldn't make happen on your own. Doors begin to open, opportunities begin to appear, and people start showing up at just the right time. But none of that happens until you move. Faith is not passive, it's power in motion. It's trusting that your effort won't be wasted, even if you don't see the results yet. It's believing that there's a purpose in the process, even when the process feels painful. You can't grow in faith while staying in fear. You can't receive what's meant for you if you're still holding on to what's comfortable. Comfort zones feel safe, but they kill destiny. You can't fly while holding on to the ground. Faith asks you to let go, to risk, to walk even when your vision is blurry. That's how miracles happen. When you take a step that doesn't make sense, but somehow everything starts falling into place. Faith without action is just a wish. You can't talk about it, you have to walk it out. When you move, you show that you believe. And when you believe, life starts to respond. The perfect time will never come. Start now. Too many people are waiting for the stars to align, for the fear to disappear, for the right resources, the right connections, or the perfect plan to fall into place. But that moment never comes. The truth is, the people who make it happen aren't the ones who waited for everything to be perfect. They're the ones who started while everything was still messy. They took the first step when they didn't have it all figured out. They began even when they were scared, uncertain, and unprepared. Because if you wait for perfect conditions, you'll be waiting forever. The world doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards action. Progress only happens when you move, not when you plan to move. There will always be an excuse. There will always be a reason to delay. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you're afraid of what people will think. But life doesn't pause for your fears. While you're waiting, someone else is starting. Someone else with less talent, fewer resources, and less experience is out there taking your opportunity simply because they had the courage to move. You don't need to know every step. You just need to take the next one. You'll learn as you go. You'll figure it out on the journey, not before it begins. Waiting for perfect timing is just another way of protecting yourself from failure. But failure is part of the process. You can't win if you never start the game. Every great success story begins with someone who took a risk when the odds weren't in their favor. They didn't have a clear path, but they trusted that movement creates momentum. The more you move, the clearer things become. The more you take action, the more life responds. You can plan all day long, but plans without action are just dreams disguised as productivity. You can't think your way into success. You have to work your way there. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your vision. There's no magic moment where everything will suddenly feel easy or certain. You make it perfect by showing up every day, even when it's uncomfortable. Perfection is an illusion. It's the enemy of progress. You keep thinking, I'll start when I'm ready. But the truth is, readiness comes from starting. You'll never feel completely confident because growth always feels awkward at first. Every master was once a beginner. Every expert once struggled. The only thing that separates them from everyone else is that they started when it was still ugly, confusing, and unclear. The power of now is real. Every day you wait is a day you lose. You have no control over what tomorrow brings, but you have power over what you do right now. The perfect time isn't coming. The perfect time is the moment you decide to begin. Pressure builds strength and purpose. You can't grow into who you're meant to be without going through situations that stretch you. Pressure is what reveals your true character. Anybody can smile when life is easy, when money is flowing and people are clapping for you. But who are you when everything starts closing in? Who are you when the plan falls apart, when you feel cornered, when you've got no backup? That's where pressure steps in to shape you. It's uncomfortable, it's painful, it's heavy, but it's necessary. You can't discover your power until life forces you to use it. Diamonds don't come from comfort, they come from heat, from force, from pressure that seems unbearable. That same principle applies to you. What you call struggle, life calls shaping. What you call chaos, life calls construction. You are being built under pressure into something that can't be broken easily. Pressure has a way of pushing out what doesn't belong. It removes the fake confidence, the shallow relationships, the weak habits. It exposes what's real and strengthens what's true. Sometimes you ask for strength and life gives you pressure. You ask for purpose and life gives you problems. You ask for growth and life gives you resistance. Because the only way to build something lasting is through struggle. The pressure you feel isn't punishment, it's preparation. Every challenge you're facing is teaching you endurance, patience, and discipline. These are the qualities you need for the next level. Without pressure, you wouldn't be ready for what's coming. You crumble under the weight of your own blessing. When you're under pressure, it's easy to want to quit. It's easy to think it's too much, to believe you're being punished or forgotten. But pressure has purpose. It's the space between who you are and who you're becoming. When you learn to embrace it instead of running from it, changes. The same thing that was meant to break you becomes the thing that builds you. You start realizing that every trial was training, every hardship was teaching. Pressure doesn't destroy you, it defines you. It shapes your perspective, your gratitude, and your resilience. Think about the greatest moments in your life. They probably came after something painful. You were forced to grow. You had to adapt. You had to push past fear. You had to find strength you didn't even know you had. That's what pressure does. It makes you stronger, wiser, sharper. It prepares you to handle the blessings that are waiting for you, because success without struggle creates weakness. Pressure teaches you how to appreciate the process, how to value the journey, and how to remain grounded when you finally reach the top. Most people want the reward without the wait, but you can't have one without the other. Pressure is the proof that you're being positioned for something greater. It's not meant to crush you. It's meant to create the version of you that can carry everything you've been praying for. Don't quit before the blessing arrives. Most people give up too soon, not because they lack talent, but because they run out of patience. They stop digging right before they strike gold. They walk away right before the breakthrough. Life has a way of testing you right before it rewards you. The moments when it feels hardest, when everything seems pointless, when nothing is moving, that's usually when you're closest to your miracle. But most people can't see that. They let the exhaustion, the disappointment, and the doubt convince them that it's over. They stop believing right when they were about to receive. The truth is, you don't fail when you fall. You fail when you stop getting back up. Every time you keep going, even when you don't feel like it, you're telling life, I'm not done yet. It's easy to stay motivated when you see results, but real strength shows up when nothing's working. When you keep pushing even though the door hasn't opened, when you keep showing up even when no one notices, that's when your faith is being built. Life will always test your commitment before it delivers your reward. It'll ask, how bad do you really want it? It'll strip away your comfort, your certainty, and your excuses. Because if you quit every time it gets hard, you'll never grow into the person who can handle what you're asking for. You have to learn to push through the waiting, the frustration, the silence. Some blessings take time because they're being prepared for you just as much as you're being prepared for them. Sometimes the reason things take longer is because the delay is your protection. You think you're ready, but life knows what you can handle. Every no, every delay, every closed door is building your endurance. The pain you feel now is strengthening your spirit for what's ahead. If everything came easy, you'd never learn gratitude, patience, or humility. You'd never appreciate the value of what you worked for. The waiting season is not wasted, it's working. The problem is we treat the pause like punishment when it's really preparation. Don't confuse delay with denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Most people want the blessing, but not the process. But the process is where you're shaped, where you grow, where you earn what's waiting for you. Every setback is a setup. Every challenge is a chance to prove to yourself that you're stronger than you think. The blessing isn't just in what you get, it's in who you become while you're waiting for it. Quitting means walking away from something that might have been just one more try away. You never know how close you are to the breakthrough you've been praying for. The darkest nights come right before sunrise. The hardest battles happen right before victory. You just have to stay in the fight long enough to see what's been waiting for you all along. You can't let fear run your life, because fear will convince you that safety is success. It'll whisper that staying comfortable is the smart choice, that avoiding risk is the right move, that waiting for the perfect time is wisdom. But fear is a liar dressed up like logic. It makes you believe you're being careful when really you're being controlled. Every dream worth chasing comes with a little bit of fear attached, because anything that can change your life will challenge your comfort zone. The people who make it big aren't the ones who never felt fear. They're the ones who moved through it anyway. They understood that fear is a signal you're on the edge of growth, not a sign to turn back. Fear will tell you, what if it doesn't work? But faith says, what if it does? Fear keeps you in the shallow end, where the water's safe but nothing ever changes. Faith pushes you into the deep, where you have to learn how to swim, how to fight, how to trust. You can't discover what you're made of until you step into the unknown. The problem is, most people spend their whole lives avoiding discomfort. They never take the leap because they're waiting to stop being afraid. But you'll never stop being afraid. Fear doesn't go away. It gets quieter the more you move forward. Confidence doesn't come before action. It's built after you act in spite of fear. Every time you push past it, your courage grows, and eventually you start to realize that fear only has the power you give it. There's no such thing as a fearless person. The difference between the successful and the stuck is that the successful learned how to walk with fear in their pocket. They don't let it drive the car, they let it ride in the back seat. Fear can come along, but it doesn't get to steer the direction of your life. When you start something new, a dream, a business, a goal, fear will always show up and try to talk you out of it. It'll remind you of everything that could go wrong, every failure you've had, every weakness you still carry. But here's the thing, fear's only job is to protect you from danger. And it doesn't know the difference between danger and opportunity. You have to train your mind to recognize when fear is lying to you, when it's keeping you small. Courage isn't about being fearless, it's about doing it scared. It's about saying, I might fail, but I'm going to try anyway. You'll never live the life you're meant to live if you let fear make your decisions. Every big dream you've ever had lives on the other side of discomfort. Fear is the gatekeeper, testing how badly you want it. The question isn't whether you're afraid, it's whether you'll move despite it. The only way to shrink fear is to face it. The only way to silence doubt is through action. Fear loses its power the moment you stop letting it decide who you can become. When life doesn't go your way, when doors close and everything you plan falls apart, that's not the end, it's redirection. Sometimes God, the universe, or whatever you believe in will shake things up just to get your attention. You think it's rejection, but it's really protection. You thought that opportunity slipping away was a setback, but it was saving you from something that wasn't meant for you. We get so focused on our own plans that we forget there's a bigger plan moving in the background, one that knows what we need before we even do. The problem is, when we lose control, we panic. We start asking, why me? Why now? But every delay, every detour, every heartbreak is setting you up for something greater. You just can't see it from where you're standing. Sometimes you have to go through what feels like a breakdown before you reach your breakthrough. The loss, the disappointment, the betrayal, it's not random. It's preparation. It's building a version of you that can handle what's coming next. You can't carry a blessing with weak hands, so life strengthens your grip through struggle. You can't handle abundance with a limited mindset, so life stretches your capacity through pain. Every no, every failure, every tear is teaching you something you can't learn in comfort. You might not understand it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that the very thing you thought was working against you was working for you. That heartbreak taught you self-worth. That job loss taught you faith. That dark season taught you resilience. The truth is, nothing great ever happens in straight lines. The best stories are full of twists and turns, and yours will be too. Sometimes you've got to lose what you thought you wanted to find what you truly need. The door that closed wasn't meant to trap you. It was meant to reroute you. When you're in the middle of it, it doesn't feel fair. You pray, you hustle, you do everything right, and still it doesn't go the way you hoped. That's the test. That's where most people give up, not realizing that the blessing was right around the corner. You don't get to control the timing, but you do get to control your response. You can complain, or you can trust that this season is building you into the person your future requires. Sometimes the delay is divine. You're asking for things you're not yet ready to handle. And life is giving you time to grow into the version of yourself who can carry it. Every time you feel like you're being pushed backward, you're actually being launched forward. It's like pulling a bow. The further it's pulled back, the greater the force when it's released. So when everything feels like it's falling apart, understand it might actually be falling into place. What looks like failure is often the foundation of your future. What feels like the end is usually the setup for a new beginning. Every person reaches a point where they feel stuck, like life has them on pause. You wake up, go through the motions, but inside something feels off. You're no longer excited. You're no longer driven. And the fire you once had feels like it's barely flickering. That's not because you've lost your purpose. It's because you've outgrown the version of yourself that used to fit the life you had. Growth feels like discomfort. It feels like being in a room that's suddenly too small for you. You start to notice that the people, habits, and routines that once made you comfortable now feel limiting. That's life's way of nudging you toward more. The problem is, most people stay in that small room because it's familiar. They're afraid of the unknown, afraid to let go, afraid to step into something bigger because it doesn't come with guarantees. But here's what's real. You will never discover your potential if you keep holding on to what's safe. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens when you take risks, when you say yes to challenges, when you're willing to start over, even when you don't have all the answers. Life doesn't reward comfort, it rewards courage. You can't get to the next level thinking like the version of you who's still standing in fear. Sometimes that means walking away from people who drain you, letting go of opportunities that no longer align, and trusting your instincts when they tell you there's more out there for you. Every time you level up, something or someone will try to pull you back down. But that's just resistance testing your commitment to your new self. Transformation isn't pretty. It's messy, it's lonely, it's filled with doubt, frustration, and moments where you'll question if you made the right choice. But that's what growth feels like. It's shedding old skin so new strength can come through. You can't carry your old habits into your new season. You can't bring the same mindset that broke you into the chapter that's meant to build you. You've got to reprogram yourself, train your mind to think differently, and trust that the pain of change is worth it. The most successful people you see didn't get there by staying comfortable. They walked away from easy paths and chose growth over familiarity. They understood that staying small just to keep others comfortable was too heavy a price to pay for peace. Every time you choose growth, you choose power. You choose to bet on yourself even when no one else does. You stop chasing approval and start chasing purpose. That's when life starts to shift in your favor. That's when new doors open, not because luck showed up, but because courage did. You can't expect new blessings while holding on to old burdens. Growth demands space, and sometimes the only way to make space for what's next is to let go of what used to be. It's not easy, but it's necessary. The pain of growth is temporary. The pain of staying stuck lasts forever. There comes a moment in every person's life when they have to face the truth that no one is coming to save them. No one is going to fix your problems, pick you up every time you fall, or hand you the life you dream about. You can pray, you can wish, you can hope all you want, but until you decide to take control and move with purpose, nothing changes. Life responds to effort, not excuses. You can't keep blaming your past, your circumstances, or the people who hurt you. You've got to take that pain and turn it into power. The most dangerous thing you can do is wait for someone else to change your life. The world doesn't owe you understanding. It rewards those who take action even when the odds are stacked against them. You've got to wake up and realize that your struggle isn't punishment, it's preparation. Every disappointment, every heartbreak, every failure was molding you for a greater version of yourself. But most people don't see it because they get stuck in the emotion of what went wrong. They focus so much on what they lost that they forget what they gained. Strength, wisdom, resilience, those things don't come from comfort, they come from survival. And if you've made it through things that were meant to destroy you, that means there's something inside you that refuses to quit. You just have to tap into it. You got to stop thinking you need permission to rise. No one is going to clap for you until you start clapping for yourself. You got to understand that responsibility is not a burden, it's a blessing. When you take full ownership of your life, you unlock your freedom. As long as you blame others, you give them control over your future. But when you say, this is on me, I will fix it, I will rise, that's when everything starts to shift. The difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck isn't talent, it's ownership. One group says, why is this happening to me? While the other says, what is this teaching me? Life gives you the same test until you learn the lesson. If you don't change the way you think, you'll keep repeating the same patterns with different faces and places. The breakthrough comes the moment you stop running from accountability. You have to stop waiting for motivation and start moving with discipline. Motivation fades. Discipline carries you through. There will be days you don't feel like it. Days when no one believes in you, days when it feels like the world is against you, but that's when you got to dig deeper, because that's the very moment life is testing your commitment. You got to work even when you're tired, believe even when you're doubtful, and push even when you're scared. The ones who rise aren't the ones with the easiest path. They're the ones who kept going when everyone else gave up. Your life will only change when you decide you're tired of your own excuses and start doing something about it.